Hello there, and welcome to Sleep Science 360. Tonight, we ease into the ancient world of geology, a world shaped by forces so slow, so steady, that entire lifetimes pass, like a single breath, in the history of stone. More than 4 billion years ago, the young Earth glowed with molten light. Seas formed and vanished. Mountains rose grain by grain. Continents drifted across oceans of rock, with the unhurried grace of dusk moving across a quiet horizon. Every landscape you've ever seen, every cliff, every canyon, every pebble, carries a chapter of this long, patient story. As an old naturalist once said, geology is Earth's diary, written slowly enough to fall asleep to. If these calm journeys bring you ease, you're welcome to linger with this channel, a gentle, like a soft follow, helping other dreamers find their way here too. For now, the night settles, and the planet's ancient rhythm begins to unfold around you. You settle into the quiet of the room, and the night settles with you like dust drifting to the lowest place it can finally rest. There's nothing you need to solve now, nothing to move toward, nothing asked of you at all. Your breath softens, your shoulders loosen, and something in the air shifts, as if the world is preparing to tell a long, patient story. You're here at the beginning of a journey into geology, the calm language of stone and time. These first moments move slowly, the way cool earth settles around the roots of a quiet tree. Even the air feels older somehow, as if it carries the weight of forgotten hills and sleeping mountains. The ground beneath you, whether it's carpet, mattress, or floor, has its own gentle temperature, its own quiet stillness. If you pay attention, even without trying, you might notice a faint, grounded warmth beneath everything. The kind of warmth stone keeps, long after sunlight fades. You can rest now, soft and low. Geology begins right here, in that subtle sensation of weight and support. The earth holding you the same way it has held forests, rivers, entire continents through the slow passing of millions of years. Somewhere deep below, far beneath the surfaces, you will never have to see heat moves in silence. Not rushing, not pushing, but rising as slowly as breath from sleeping embers. You feel that steadiness without needing to look for it. A quiet reassurance rising up through the floor, through the bed, through your own stillness. You can rest now, warm and slow. The planet has been here for over 4 billion years, an age so vast it softens the edges of every thought. Long before mountains had names, long before oceans found their basins, long before anything living touched the surface, the earth was learning to cool, gradually, patiently, stone forming from molten light, crystals growing atom by atom in a darkness older than memory. Somewhere, light continues to travel across the quiet space between stars, but here near the ground, everything slows. You can feel the world easing you, lower, settling your breath into its own calm rhythm. You can rest now, safe and low. Geology is the story of slow changes, changes so gentle that the earth reshapes itself while no one is watching. The tallest mountains rise less than a centimeter in a year. A single layer of sediment might take thousands of years to form. And yet, over time, these tiny shifts create valleys, deserts, continents, all from patience, all from stillness. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. Here in this moment, you're connected to the planet, not by movement, but by quiet. You sense the faint gravity that has held oceans in place, that has guided rivers down mountain faces, that has pressed ancient forests into coal over millions of slow, dark years. This gravity now holds you too. You can rest now, soft and still. If you imagine holding a small pebble in your hand, its cool surface against your skin, you're touching a piece of the earth that may be hundreds of millions of years old. It formed in a world without cities, without seasons as we know them, without the sky you recognize. And yet, it remained. A quiet survivor of time. A patient witness to everything the planet has ever done. And as you breathe, your breath falls into rhythm with the long exhale of the earth itself. Slow, steady, unhurried. You can rest now, low and warm. Even now, as you lie here, the crust beneath you, about 30 kilometers thick, beneath continents, rests like a vast ancient skin around the planet. Beneath it, temperatures rise to hundreds of degrees, further in thousands. Deep in the mantle, heat moves upward over millions of years, drifting like a slow tide. Nothing rushes, nothing pushes. Everything waits. This waiting is the true language of geology. The language of stone that forms, breaks, and forms again over spans of time far longer than anything the human mind can hold. It's okay to drift soft and slow. Imagine mountain ranges, rising ranges, that take tens of millions of years to lift only a few kilometers into the sky. Their peaks might have once been the seafloor layered with shells, sand, and quiet silt. In their highest stones, you could find the imprints of creatures that lived and died when the world was warm and shallow, when continents were gathered close, like sleeping animals. Somewhere light continues to travel, but here time stretches like a soft horizon. It's okay to drift quiet and low. Think of a grain of sand, the way it moves through the world with gentle patience. It might break off from a cliff 20 million years old. It might roll along a riverbed, carried only a few centimeters a day. It might settle in the bottom of a calm sea for 100,000 years before being pressed into sandstone. And even then, it might rise again, lifted by the slow upward push of a continent drifting a few centimeters each year. Every grain is a story of motion, so soft it feels like rest. You can rest now, warm and low. You might imagine placing your hand on an ancient rock, face its surface cool, steady, unmoving. But even unmoving stone is changing. Slow weathering, slow cracking, slow smoothing by wind and rain. In 1,000 years, the stone shifts only a little. In 1,000,000, its shape softens. In 100 million, it becomes something else entirely. This is the rhythm of geology. A rhythm close to sleep. A rhythm your body understands. It's okay to drift soft and low. Below the crust deeper, still the mantle circulates in currents so slow that a full cycle might take hundreds of millions of years. Imagine a warm, dense rock rising its journey upward slower than the growth of a fingernail, then cooling, sinking again, sinking for ages, returning to the depths where temperatures reach thousands of degrees. A journey so gradual it becomes indistinguishable from stillness. And as you breathe, the night folds gently around you, matching the deep patience of the earth. You can rest now, safe and low. Stone remembers. Every layer holds a story of heat, pressure, and time. In cliffs, you can see lines, some thick, some thin, each one a season that lasted thousands of years. Some lines formed when rivers flooded, some when seas withdrew, some when volcanic ash settled quietly across an entire continent in a single soft blanket. These layers are Earth's quiet diary, not written for us, not rushed, just present, present. The way your breath is present. Steady, quiet, easy to overlook, but always there. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. Even now, continents move. Not fast enough to feel, just a few centimeters each year. No more than the space of 2 breaths. Over millions of years, they cross oceans, split apart, collide. When they do, mountains rise in slow motion, peaks climbing toward the sky, grain by grain. You can rest now, slow and low. If you imagine the Earth from space, you might see the continents like islands drifting on a dark sea. They glide over the mantle's warm currents, following paths set in motion, long before any living thing opened its eyes. And still they move, still they breathe, still they change. The night softens around you, now matching this slow drift. It's okay to drift warm and slow. You're lying on a planet that has never stopped transforming, never stopped settling into itself, never stopped making new stones, while old stones erode into sand. Everything changes. Everything returns. Everything moves toward rest. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. And somewhere far below, heat rises. Not a sudden heat, not a fire, but a warmth, ancient enough to have shaped continents, oceans, mountains, valleys. A warmth that still lingers, still moves, still waits. This warmth reaches you the way a memory reaches you, in the quiet moments before sleep, soft, unhurried, patient. You can rest now, low and still. The Earth is a planet made of patience. Patience in cooling stone. Patience in drifting continents. Patience in rising mountains. Patience in every grain of sand, carried gently by wind or water. Tonight, you breathe with that same patience. The night deepens, the Earth settles, and you settle with it. We move together now slowly, the way dusk moves across a quiet landscape. The night has settled into its own patient rhythm, and we settle with it, gliding into the deeper layers of geology, where time stretches into soft, steady horizons. There's a calm that rises when we enter deep time, a sense that everything, even our breath, begins to follow the unhurried tempo of the Earth. We drift across millions of years as gently as wind drifts across sand. Nothing pushes, nothing demands. Only the long unfolding of the planet's memory, one layer at a time. And in this unfolding, there is space for us to rest, soft and slow. You can rest now, warm and low. As we move through these quiet moments, we begin to see the early Earth not as a place of chaos, but as a place of gradual settling. The crust cooled over tens of millions of years. Vast oceans formed from vapor that drifted through the air as the young planet breathed out its heat. Droplets gathered. Rain fell. Warm seas collected in wide basins. This was the beginning of the landscapes we know today. Calm waters beneath a cooling sky. And somewhere in that soft distance, continents began to float, slabs of rock, moving just centimeters each year, guided by gentle currents deep within the mantle. These movements were so slow that entire species lived and vanished without noticing a single shift. And yet, over hundreds of millions of years, those movements shaped the face of the planet. It's okay to drift quiet and warm. When we picture deep time, it helps to imagine a vast, starlit desert stretching far beyond the horizon. Every grain of sand, 1,000 years. Every dune, 1,000,000. And the landscape, as a whole, a story written across hundreds of millions of silent nights. This is deep time. time so wide that it allows mountains to rise oceans, to open continents, to wander across the globe. We glide now into one of the earliest ancient continents, a place we know as Laurentia. More than 1 billion years ago, its craggy edges were surrounded by warm seas. Volcanic islands drifted near its shores. Rivers carried fine silts across its flat plains. And beneath those rivers, layers of rock formed like pages in a story written slowly enough to fall asleep to. You can rest now, softly and low. Across this early land, crystals cooled inside mountain roots. Crystals the size of rooms forming over thousands upon thousands of quiet years. Granite bodies rose slowly beneath forests that had not yet come into existence. Those granites, cooled from magma that had been stored deep underground, carried upward in movements so slow they could never be felt, only imagined. And as we breathe through these ancient scenes, the night carries us deeper. The darkness around us becomes like the deep interior of the planet, warm, steady, unhurried. It's okay to drift gentle and low. We step softly through the faint memory of another world, Gondwana, a supercontinent larger than anything we know today, stretching from pole to pole. Vast deserts crossed its interior. Glaciers touched its southern edge. Rivers the size of seas carved through its surface. Every part of it changed, but so slowly that its story feels like a lullaby sung in the voice of stone. Mountains rose along its edges, not in sudden outbursts, but in slow pulses, lasting millions of years. Each pulse lifted rock upward just a few millimeters at a time, one breath of the earth, then another, and another, until peaks stood thousands of meters above the plains. You can rest now, low and warm. As we drift, we begin to see that time itself shapes every part of geology. Even the hardest rock over millions of years becomes soft. Rain falls, wind carries dust, rivers carve canyons, a grain at a time. Caves open where water runs steady and patient, and cliffs collapse not in fury, but in slow, inevitable surrender. Somewhere, far beyond our sight, light continues to travel across the cold spaces between stars. But here, we move through a world shaped not by starlight, but by weight and warmth and deep, steady time. It's okay to drift warm and slow. Now we move into a different age, hundreds of millions of years later, when the planet was warm and shallow seas spread across its surface like mirrors. Coral reefs flourished. Fine limestone drifted down to the seafloor. Layer by layer, it built thick beds of rock beds that would one day rise as mountains when continents collided again. Each grain, a quiet memory of a creature that lived in calm water under gentle sunlight. You can rest, now soft and low. Imagine those layers as shelves of time. One layer might represent 100,000 years, another 1,000,000, and each line in the limestone is a pause in the earth's breath, a moment where nothing dramatic happened, only the slow settling of life into stone. In these ancient seas, currents drifted like whispers. Sand moved no more than a few centimeters each day. Shells fell gently to the bottom and remained there, slowly pressed into rock by the weight of water that measured thousands of meters deep. It's okay to drift slow and warm. We move now to an age when something remarkable happened. Continents that had been scattered for hundreds of millions of years began to draw closer. Their coasts approached each other by just a few centimeters a year. barely more than the width of a fingertip. But millions of years passed. The distance closed. And when they met, mountains rose, folding the crust into long sweeping arcs. Where seas had once been calm and warm, high peaks now stood. Ridges of stone rose toward the sky. Their roots reached deep into the crust. Their summits rose into frost and cold air, and everything changed. You can rest now, quiet and low. We drift across these rising ranges, watching valleys form between them. Valleys carved by rivers that ran through rock with patience unmatched by anything else on earth. Water found its path. Stone yielded slowly. The valleys deepened. The mountains grew sharper, then softened again as millions of years passed. And as we breathe, the night moves with us, unhurried. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. Now we move to a world covered in ice. For tens of thousands of years, glaciers spread across continents, thick sheets of ice, a kilometer or more in height. They moved only centimeters a day, but carried stones the size of houses, scraping paths into the bedrock. Their weight reshaped entire landscapes. Their meltwater carved new rivers as they retreated. And when they were gone, they left behind valleys, lakes, and plains that still exist today. You can rest now, low and warm. Glaciers are slow storytellers. They speak in smooth curves, in polished stones, in grooves carved into ancient bedrock. They teach us that even cold, even silence, can shape the world. It's okay to drift soft and slow. We drift now over deserts formed from ancient seas. Where water once shimmered in bright sunlight, dunes now rise and fall in waves of warm sand. Some dunes move only a few meters in a year. Some stay in place for centuries, all of them shaped by winds so soft they can barely be felt. You can rest now, warm and low. In the heart of these deserts, sandstone towers rise, towers built from grains of sand that once lay on the floor of quiet oceans. Pressure turned them into stone. Time carved them into pillars. Wind sculpted them into shapes that catch moonlight in ways that feel almost dreamlike. And somewhere in these shapes, the earth keeps a memory of places long gone. It's okay to drift gentle and slow. We move now to volcanic fields, where new rock forms from molten material rising from deep within the earth. This molten rock cools into basalt, dark, dense, heavy, with minerals older than oceans. Basalt flows stretch for kilometers, spreading slowly before solidifying. Once cooled, they crack into columns, forming patterns so regular they look carved, even though they formed naturally, one cooling moment at a time. You can rest now, soft and low. Every part of geology is a lesson in patience, a lesson in change, a lesson in quiet transformation. Mountains rise, mountains fall, seas appear and disappear. Continents drift across the globe like silent travelers, and beneath it all, heat continues its slow upward journey, shaping the world breath by breath. We breathe with the earth now, gently, quietly, steadily. It's okay to drift warm and low. Geology teaches us that everything changes, but nothing is rushed. Stone cools, stone shatters, stone reforms. Millions of years pass, and the world becomes something new, something older, something quieter. And tonight, we drift through those changes, not as observers, but as travelers carried by the patient rhythm of deep time. The night is wide, The Earth is steady, and we move with it, layer by layer, into calm. It moves so slowly that the motion becomes silence. The Earth settles under its own weight, and in that settling, the world learns to rest. Stone cools, stone breathes, stone listens. For millions of years, the planet has turned without hurry, its crust moving just centimeters each year, its mountains rising grain by grain. It carries within it a deep hum, a resonance born from pressure, heat, and the memory of ancient seas. That hum spreads through layers of rock, thicker than continents, through oceans older than any creature that swims in them now. It's okay to drift soft and low. The planet holds a warmth no storm can reach, rising from depths where temperatures soar higher than molten metal. That warmth travels upward across millions of years, cooling slowly, shaping the crust above it. Even now, beneath quiet forests and deserts, sleeping under starlight, the deep earth glows with the calm persistence of old fire. It's okay to drift warm and slow. Above this slow warmth, the crust gathers itself into shapes, mountains, valleys, plains, ridges, each one formed from movements too gradual for a single lifetime to notice. Stone bends, stone folds, stone lifts itself into the sky. Over time, these quiet motions create landscapes that stretch for thousands of kilometers. It's okay to drift gentle and low. Far below the surface, minerals crystallize in the dark. Quartz forms in pockets of heat, its hexagonal symmetry born from atoms, arranging themselves one patient moment at a time. Mica grows in thin, shining sheets. Feldspar cools into pale, solid blocks. Granite bodies slowly expand beneath the crust, their colors destined to shine only when erosion exposes them millions of years later. It's okay to drift soft and warm. Above these hidden crystals, rivers carve their patient paths through land that once lay at the bottom of vanished seas. Currents move no faster than clouds, drifting across the horizon. They carry grains of broken rock sand that will someday become sandstone silt that will form shale pebbles, that will settle into conglomerates older than entire mountain ranges. The earth slows everything it touches. It's okay to drift slow and low. Wind moves across wide plains, shaping dunes and arcs that mirror gentle waves on a calm ocean. Some dunes advance only a meter in a year. Some remain fixed in place for centuries, anchored by roots, by moisture, by memory. In the moonlight, they shimmer like vast sleeping tides, frozen in soft golden curves. It's okay to drift warm and soft. The planet remembers everything that has passed over it. Layers stack upon layers. Volcanic ash from distant eruptions. Dust carried by ancient winds. The remains of forests that lived and vanished long before deserts arrived. Each layer rests on the one before it, forming a quiet archive of time. It's okay to drift gentle and slow. Far from deserts, deep oceans settle into their own slow rhythm. Sediments fall through water, thousands of meters deep, drifting downward like snow in a world without sound. A single particle may take weeks to reach the seafloor. There it joins countless others, forming layers that will someday rise into cliffs and coastlines. It's okay to drift soft and warm. In some places, tectonic plates diverge, pulling apart along long, quiet seams. New crust forms from molten rock rising from below. The process is steady, unhurried, a few centimeters in a year. And yet, Over millions of years, entire oceans open. The Atlantic, for instance, widens by the length of a human fingernail each year, a slow breath of the planet. It's okay to drift warm and low. Where plates collide, mountains rise, not in sudden leaps, but in slow expansions of pressure and fold. The Himalayas continue to climb, even now, only a few millimeters each year. Snow settles on their peaks, and glaciers carve deep valleys between their ridges, shaping the land one soft scrape at a time. It's okay to drift soft and slow. In volcanic places, magma rises quietly from deep reservoirs of heat. Most of its journey is silent, invisible. Only at the end does it cool into basalt, forming dark plains and high plateaus that stretch across entire regions. These rocks, once hot enough to glow, now rest in stillness beneath cold night skies. It's okay to drift warm and gentle. Even limestone, born from creatures that lived in shallow, sunny seas, has its own slow story. Coral skeletons, shell fragments, tiny grains of carbonate settling over thousands of years. Layer by layer, these soft materials compress into stone harder than steel. In time, they rise into mountains or crumble into white sand that glows under moonlight. It's okay to drift low and slow. Canyons form where rivers cut through layers of stone built across hundreds of millions of years. The Colorado River carved the Grand Canyon grain by grain, inch by inch, over nearly 6 million years. Now cliffs, painted in shades of red and gold, rise a mile above the river, each stripe marking a different age. From the quiet bottom to the sunlit rim, the canyon is a portrait of time, a long, patient breath of the earth. It's okay to drift soft and warm. In cold regions, glaciers move like vast frozen rivers. They carve U-shaped valleys, polish bedrock, and leave behind boulders the size of houses. Some glaciers carry stones for thousands of years before setting them gently in distant plains. Even ice participates in the long rhythm of geology. It's okay to drift gentle and low. Volcanic islands rise from the sea as magma cools into stone. Over millions of years, erosion shapes their cliffs and beaches. Waves carve arches. Wind shapes basalt towers. When the islands subside again, coral reefs grow along their edges, forming rings that continue long after the land sinks beneath the waves. It's okay to drift warm and slow. In certain places, geothermal fields whisper through vents and fumaroles. Steam rises. Minerals precipitate from hot water coloring terraces in shades of white, gold, and blue. These formations are fragile, growing just millimeters a year, as mineral-rich water flows across their surfaces. It's okay to drift soft and low. There are stones older than life itself. Zircons found in ancient rock date back more than 4 billion years. They formed when the Earth was still cooling from its creation, when continents had not yet taken shape, when oceans were only beginning to gather. These crystals survived collisions, erosion, fire, and pressure. They carried time forward, and now they rest in quiet waiting. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. Salt flats glimmer under pale sunlight, remnants of vanished lakes that evaporated thousands of years ago. Their surface is smooth, geometric, fragile, a landscape made entirely from stillness. When night falls, the salt glows faintly under starlight, reflecting constellations that have guided travelers for centuries. It's okay to drift slow and soft. In forests, soil forms from decaying leaves, weathered rock, and living roots. This process is so slow it's measured in centimeters per century, and yet entire ecosystems grow from this thin, patient layer. The Earth builds fertility with infinite care. It's okay to drift warm and low. Volcanic ash, carried by winds across continents, settles quietly into layers that preserve the memory of distant eruptions. Fossils form when sediment buries the remains of ancient life, protecting them from decay. Over millions of years, minerals replace bone, creating stone replicas of creatures long gone. Even memory becomes geology. It's okay to drift soft and slow. Caves open beneath the surface, carved by water, dissolving limestone grain by grain. Stalactites drip slowly from ceilings. Stalagmites rise quietly from the floor. Each drip of mineral-rich water adds a tiny layer, perhaps only a fraction of a millimeter in a year. In 10,000 years, they become pillars. In a million cathedrals. It's okay to drift warm and low. Then there are the sounds of geology. The low hum of tectonic movement, the soft crumble of distant cliffs, the quiet fall of sand, the whisper of pebbles rolling in a calm tide. If the earth had a lullaby, it would be made of these sounds, soft rhythms shaped by weight, wind, and deep time. It's okay to drift gentle and slow. Somewhere below, magma pulses through chambers that have not yet reached the surface. It cools, slowly forming crystals meters across. These crystals remain hidden for ages, waiting for erosion to reveal them long after everything else has changed. Earth keeps secrets in stone. It's okay to drift warm and soft. Even after continents drift, collide, separate, and drift again, the memory of their movement remains written in mountains and minerals. In old metamorphic rocks, pressure changes create patterns that record the exact direction of ancient forces. These lines, called foliation, are whispers of collisions that happened hundreds of millions of years ago. It's okay to drift soft and low. Tonight, the Earth continues its slow transformation. Stone settles, heat rises, continents drift, mountains erode into sand that flows through rivers and gathers once more at the bottom of the sea. Nothing is wasted, nothing rushed, everything returns. And in this long rhythm, the night carries you, gently matching the deep, steady heartbeat of the planet. Light still travels, but here, all motion softens into quiet. It's okay to drift warm and low. The earth hums beneath you, patient and calm, and you drift with it, one quiet breath at a time. It rests beneath every horizon, the quiet pulse that has shaped the world since the planet first cooled. It moves so gently that even silence becomes a kind of motion, a long exhale stretched across millions of years. The earth turns, and with each turn, stone adjusts itself, grain by grain. It's okay to drift soft and slow, deep inside, far below the surface, and all its landscape's heat gathers in slow spirals. The mantle circulates, like a whisper of warmth rising over millions of years before sinking again. In this cycle, continents drift, oceans open, and mountains slowly lift toward the sky. It's okay to drift warm and low. The crust above responds with patience. It bends where heat pushes up from below. It cracks where tension stretches it thin. It folds where plates converge, forming ridges that later become towering mountain chains. Every change is subtle, measured, not in moments, but in epochs. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. On the surface, rain falls, carving through soft stone. Rivers gather the loose grains, carrying them toward the sea. The process is steady, slow enough that a single bend in a river might take tens of thousands of years to form. And still, the river carves on shaping valleys that echo for kilometers. It's okay to drift warm and slow. Ocean waves press against cliffs, smoothing their edges. Storms may strike, but erosion is not shaped by force. It's shaped by repetition, the steady beat of water against stone, the gradual loosening of grains, the soft crumble of edges over centuries. It's okay to drift soft and low. Coastlines shift as sea levels rise and fall, sometimes by dozens of meters across thousands of years. Where land once stretched far into the ocean, water now covers the ancient plains. Where seabeds once lay, quiet mountains may someday rise. The earth rearranges itself in the slowest choreography imaginable. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. Wind carries fine dust across entire continents. Some particles travel thousands of kilometers before settling into quiet layers. Over millions of years, these layers form loess, soft, fertile soil that holds the memory of distant deserts and vanished storms. It's okay to drift slow and soft. Far below, magma gathers in silent chambers. It cools into gabbro granite and diorite rocks, born in darkness, destined to remain hidden until erosion eventually reveals them. These rocks hold heat long after they form, radiating a gentle warmth that travels upward even now. It's okay to drift warm and low. Iron-rich minerals align themselves with the Earth's magnetic field as they cool. These tiny alignments act like records etched into stone, capturing the direction of magnetic poles millions of years ago. Long after continents have drifted to new places, rocks keep this memory quietly within their structure. It's okay to drift soft and slow. In deserts, long after sunset, rocks release the heat they gathered during the day. This warmth moves through sand and into the air in soft, shimmering waves. The desert cools, the dunes shift slightly, and the night becomes a blanket of stillness draped over the land. It's okay to drift warm and gentle. Stone arches form where layers of rock erode at different rates. The softer layers beneath give way first, creating spaces that widen slowly over tens of thousands of years. Eventually, the harder layers above remain suspended, forming graceful curves that catch the rising sunday. It's okay to drift quiet and warm. In limestone landscapes, underground rivers carve elaborate networks of caves. The sound of water echoing through these tunnels is slow, hollow, rhythmic. Over time, stalactites form drip by drip. Some grow only a few millimeters in a century. Others take thousands of years to become pillars. It's okay to drift soft and low. In basalt fields, hexagonal columns rise from ancient lava, flows their shapes, created by the slow cooling of molten rock. These columns can stretch for meters, forming natural cathedrals where wind sings in low tones between the narrow gaps. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. Where glaciers once pressed down upon the land, the ground rebounds, slowly lifting only millimeters each year as the weight of ice no longer burdens it. Some regions continue to rise long after the ice vanished, a quiet reminder of forces that once shaped the world. It's okay to drift warm and soft. Ancient lake beds, long dried, leave behind playas, flat, pale surfaces that gleam under moonlight. Cracks spread across their surfaces in geometric patterns, widening and narrowing as the earth breathes. It's okay to drift soft and slow. In canyons, cut deep into the crust, each wall reveals thousands of layers stacked upon each other. Some layers formed from volcanic ash, some from river deposits, some from ancient seas. Together they tell a story longer than any river that carves through them today. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. Large boulders lie scattered across plains, transported from distant mountains by glaciers. These lonely stones rest far from their origins, silent travelers left behind when the ice withdrew. They hold the memory of cold ages in their weight. It's okay to drift warm and low. In volcanic arcs along subduction zones, magma rises slowly from melted crust, dragged deep into the mantle. The process is so gradual that it may take millions of years before magma finds its way to the surface. Most of it never does. It cools quietly underground, turning into new layers of solid rock. It's okay to drift soft and slow. Far beneath mountains, pressure transforms stone into metamorphic rock. Shale becomes slate. Limestone becomes marble. Granite becomes gneiss. Each transformation is a quiet remaking atoms, reorganizing themselves in response to weight and heat. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. Some rocks contain ripple marks formed by waves that once moved across shallow seas. These marks remain even after the water withdraws, after the land rises, after mountains form, after the stone is exposed again by erosion millions of years later. Even waves have left their memory in stone. It's okay to drift soft and low. In some regions, hot springs emerge where groundwater meets rising heat from below. Mineral-rich water deposits, bright layers of travertine around their edges. These terraces grow only millimeters each year, adding tiny rims that shine white gold and pale blue. It's okay to drift warm and slow. Dust storms lift fine particles high into the sky, carrying them across oceans. Some dust from the Sahara reaches the Amazon, feeding forests with minerals that once belonged to ancient lake beds. Even the smallest particles travel with the Earth's quiet rhythms. It's okay to drift gentle and soft. The Earth releases heat through thousands of tiny vents on the ocean floor. Warm water rises like a slow underwater breeze, carrying dissolved minerals that shimmer as they cool. These places are silent and dark, yet they pulse with the steady energy of the deep planet. It's okay to drift slow and warm. Continents fit together like pieces of a puzzle, their matching coastlines telling stories of ancient supercontinents. Pangaea formed and broke apart over hundreds of millions of years, its drifting shards becoming the lands we know today. It's okay to drift soft and low. Stone moves through cycles from mountains to rivers, from rivers to seas, from seas to the deep crust, and back again through uplift. The cycle takes hundreds of millions of years, yet it continues without urgency, reshaping the world grain by grain. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. Even sound becomes geology over time. The quiet rumble of waves against cliffs, the low groan of glaciers shifting, the faint crumble of sandstone in dry air. These sounds echo through landscapes, soft reminders of the planet breathing beneath them. It's okay to drift warm and slow. As night deepens, it folds itself around these vast rhythms. The earth becomes a soft silhouette against the dark, its mountains resting its valleys, hushed its plains, stretching into quiet distance. Nothing rushes, nothing demands, everything waits. It's okay to drift soft and low. The planet's patience becomes your patience. Its slowness becomes your slowness. Its quiet becomes your quiet. The same rhythm that shaped continents now moves through the quiet air around you, steady, calm, ancient. It's okay to drift warm and gentle. And as the earth continues its long, unhurried journey through deep time, the night settles further and everything softens into calm. The world hums, stone remembers, and the long breath of the planet carries you deeper into rest. It continues beneath everything, the long echo of deep earth, a sound so soft it feels like stillness, a vibration that has moved through stone for billions of years. The planet holds this echo, the way ancient trees hold wind, quietly, patiently, with a calm older than light on the horizon. It's okay to drift warm and low. It hums through crust and mantle through fault lines and mineral seams. This hum is not a voice, not a whisper, but a slow rearrangement of pressure that travels through rock thick as continents. Some parts of this echo travel thousands of kilometers, moving through the planet's interior, like quiet thunder hidden in deep darkness. It's okay to drift soft and slow. In the deep mantle, where temperatures rise beyond 1,000 degrees, stone moves like thick syrup, slow, viscous, steady. Over millions of years, these motions guide entire continents, nudging them forward with the gentlest push imaginable. Each drift is only a few centimeters a year, yet over time, continents can cross oceans, collide with distant lands, and resurrect mountain chains that last for ages. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. When continents collide, the crust thickens into ridges that rise upward, folding, layer upon layer, into stone wings stretching toward the sky. The Himalayas rose this way, a slow uplift that continues even now, their peaks rising only millimeters each year. Snow gathers on their summits, glaciers trace their valleys, and winds move across them in tones lower than a whisper. It's okay to drift warm and slow. Deep inside, these mountains' pressure transforms old rock into metamorphic layers. Slate forms from compressed shale. Marble forms from heated limestone. Schist forms as minerals reorganize themselves under heat and weight. Each transformation is gradual, like the earth quietly turning its pages. It's okay to drift soft and low. Valleys open between mountains where rivers carve their gentle pathways. A river may move only a few meters a year, its soft sound echoing between cliffs, shaped across thousands of centuries. Erosion is not violence here. It is the planet's slow breathing, a rhythm that continues long after seasons fade. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. Far from mountains in the quiet plains, sediments gather into thick blankets spread across hundreds of kilometers. Dust settles, silt softens the land. Clay layers built by vanished rivers harden slowly into rock. Over millions of years, these plains rise, tilt, and fold into new landscapes. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It remembers ancient forests that once covered warm continents. Leaves fell for millions of years, layering themselves into thick beds. As weight pressed down, the remains of these forests transformed into coal, a record of sunlight captured hundreds of millions of years ago. Beneath quiet soils, beneath cold rain and steady roots, those ancient forests sleep in dark seams, waiting beneath the earth. It's okay to drift soft and low. The planet remembers deep oceans that once covered entire regions. In those depths, skeletons of tiny organisms drifted to the seafloor. Millions of years passed. Pressure increased. Limestone formed thick and pale, layered like soft pages. Later, when continents collided and seas drained away, these layers rose into mountains. Today, fossils from those oceans lie thousands of meters above sea level, quiet signs of worlds long gone. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers volcanoes whose eruptions shaped entire landscapes. Not all eruptions were violent. Many were silent flows of basalt that spread across valleys, cooling into smooth plains that shimmer under the soft weight of night. Basalt columns formed as lava cooled, slowly splitting into hexagonal patterns that still echo with the Earth's internal heat. It's okay to drift warm and slow. Even the ocean floor carries memories of quiet creation. New crust emerges from deep rifts, forming ridges thousands of kilometers long. This crust cools as it moves outward, collecting sediments, hosting deep-sea life, and eventually sinking back into the mantle at distant trenches. The cycle continues endlessly, a slow heartbeat beneath the waves. It's okay to drift soft and low. Above that, deep floor currents move quietly through water, thousands of meters deep. They carry fine particles, tiny grains of sand, broken shells, volcanic dust, drifting slowly downward until they settle on the seafloor. Each particle is a fragment of the Earth's long breath. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers mountain chains that have come and gone. The Appalachian Mountains, now worn low, were once taller than the Himalayas. Hundreds of millions of years of rain, wind, and frost softened them into the gentle hills they are today. Their long erosion is a lullaby shaped by time. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It remembers deserts that once lay beneath oceans, and oceans that once shimmered above mountains. Land and water trade places in cycles so long that they feel like dreams woven into stone. Sandstone cliffs shine red at sunrise, their colors shaped by iron that oxidized slowly over ages. Every shade is a memory of ancient tides. It's okay to drift soft and low. In colder realms, permafrost holds the earth in stillness. Ice grips layers of soil and stone, locking them into the quiet freeze of deep winter. When sunlight returns, the surface softens slightly, only to freeze again each night. This gentle cycling of thaw and frost carves patterns into the land. Circles, stripes, polygons, designs shaped by the Earth's slow pulse. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers meteor impacts that shaped entire eras. Some impacts carved craters, tens of kilometers across their shock waves, traveling through the crust faster than sound. Yet today, many of those craters lie, softened by time, forests growing inside them, lakes filling their centers, sediments layering over their edges. Even the most sudden events become quiet under enough time. It's okay to drift warm and slow. Volcanic islands rise from the sea when magma finds a pathway upward. These islands begin as dark, rocky outposts in endless blue water. Slowly, plants arrive, birds settle, sand collects along new beaches, and over thousands of years, an island becomes a home for life. Later, erosion and plate movement carry it downward again, softening it back into the quiet sea. It's okay to drift soft and low. The Earth writes its history not in words, but in layers. Sandstone above shale, limestone above basalt granite, cutting through metamorphic roots. Each layer is a moment, each moment an age, each age a quiet breath. Geology is the long memory of this breathing. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. Even sound has a place in this memory. The soft crack of frost spreading across stone at night, the distant crumble of a cliff edge settling into itself, the hush of sand sliding down a dune, the low resonance of a glacier shifting in deep cold. These sounds travel across landscapes like sleepwalking echoes, gentle reminders that even silence is alive. It's okay to drift warm and slow. In certain caverns, every drop of water becomes a note in the Earth's slow symphony. A single drop can take minutes to fall. Its sound reverberates through chambers carved over millions of years, painting the darkness with soft vibrations. Over countless drops, stalactites grow downward. Stalagmites rise upward until they touch forming stone columns older than any civilization. It's okay to drift soft and low. The Earth holds more memory in a single cliff than any library ever could. It remembers ancient winds in cross-bedded sandstone, remembers vanished rivers in smooth pebbles long separated from their sources, remembers volcanic ash in pale streaks across shale, all of it preserved with a patience beyond imagining. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. And through all this, the planet moves, not with urgency, but with the calm certainty of deep time. Continents shift, seas open, mountains rise, valleys fall, stone forms, stone erodes, stone rises again. The cycle is endless and serene. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It hums beneath your awareness, a low, ancient resonance, stretching from the core to the crust. This hum softens everything above it, like a deep, warm breath felt through the souls of mountains. It carries the memory of beginnings, the patience of millions of winters, and the quiet promise of landscapes still forming. It's okay to drift soft and low, and as the night deepens, the Earth's long echo drifts, with it spreading across plains, climbing mountains, sliding through canyons, and settling into the warm, dark, stone dreams. Time unfolds, and the planet continues its gentle turning, a slow, steady cradle beneath the quiet sky. It remembers everything in quiet layers stacked one upon another, like soft breaths left behind by time. The Earth does not hurry as it stores these memories. It simply settles them into stone, letting weight press story into structure. Each layer forms with the patience of drifting grains. Each grain, a tiny chapter in a book written over millions of years. It's okay to drift soft and low. It holds the fragments of ancient rivers, smooth pebbles long separated from their sources, rounded by currents that moved with the gentleness of distant seasons. Pebbles rest where water once flowed their surfaces, still carrying the quiet polish of vanished streams. Even now, in dry air and slow sunlight, the memory of running water lingers across their curves. It's okay to drift warm and slow. Sandstone cliffs rise above desert floors, their patterns shaped by winds that passed centuries ago. Cross-bedded lines form soft angles within the stone, each angle a whisper of the direction the wind once moved. When night settles, shadows fill these patterns with deeper silence, and the stone becomes a quiet archive of shifting dunes and warm Sunday. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. In the far north, permafrost lies beneath tundra, holding cold inside itself for thousands of years. Each winter deepens its stillness, and each summer softens only the uppermost layers. Below, the frozen earth remains unchanged, a world that moves so slowly it might as well be sleeping. It's okay to drift warm and low. It remembers mountain roots that stretch far beneath the surface, thicker than the mountains themselves, cradling deep reservoirs of heat. In these roots, pressure turns minerals into shimmering bands, nice, folded, and refolded, until its structure becomes a quiet map of forgotten collisions. These bands shine faintly in daylight, like the soft gleam of calm water under a fading sky. It's okay to drift soft and slow. It remembers basalt plains formed from ancient lava flows, their surfaces cracked into long geometric patterns. These cracks widen and narrow, with the seasons breathing slowly as temperatures rise and fall. Wind moves across the plains in long, even tones, echoing between basalt columns like the low hum of distant tides. It's okay to drift warm and gentle. In limestone caverns, water carries minerals through darkness. The faint drip of each droplet rings through empty chambers, a slow, hollow note stretching across seconds. Over centuries, each sound leaves behind a tiny trace of mineral building formations that grow like stone forests. It's okay to drift gentle and slow. Deep in the crust, fluids carrying quartz and gold seep into cracks. They cool into veins, thin, bright threads running through solid rock. These threads can extend for kilometers, silent pathways left behind by ancient heat. They glimmer faintly when exposed, like soft starlight captured underground. It's okay to drift warm and low. It remembers lands drowned by rising seas, coastlines change by meters over millennia, dunes, swallowed forests, submerged old soils sealed beneath layers of silt. Then, over ages, the sea retreats, revealing plains where waves once broke in long, rhythmic lines. It's okay to drift soft and warm. In river deltas, sediments spread like fingers across the land. Each year, another thin layer settles, silt suspended in quiet water, drifting downward in slow spirals. Over thousands of years, the delta extends, building itself outward into the sea with infinite patience. It's okay to drift slow and gentle. It remembers the weight of glaciers, ice, thousands of meters thick, pressing down upon the crust. When the ice melts, the land lifts again. Slow rebounds, measured in millimeters per year. These silent risings continue long after the glaciers vanish the earth, gradually releasing the memory of cold ages. It's okay to drift warm and low. Deep beneath volcanic arcs, water descends with subducting crust. Under immense heat, this water triggers melting in the mantle, lifting magma toward the surface. Most of it cools before reaching daylight, turning into new rock that waits patiently in the dark for millions of years. It's okay to drift soft and slow. It remembers rivers that no longer flow, dry channels cut through ancient sandstone, their winding paths etched into the land. In heavy rain, some channels briefly awaken, carrying silt and stone before falling silent again. The memory of water lingers along every curve. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers forests buried by volcanic ash. Trees fall, ash covers them, and minerals slowly replace their wood, cell by cell. Millions of years pass. When erosion finally reveals them, the trees have become stone, perfect replicas of trunks and roots, each ring preserved in quiet detail. It's okay to drift warm and slow. In salt flats, the earth shines with pale light. Evaporated lakes leave behind delicate crystals forming polygon patterns across wide-open plains. When the wind moves, fine grains slide in soft rattles, a faint sound like tiny bells stirred by distant air. It's okay to drift soft and low. It remembers shallow seas teeming with life long since vanished. Corals built reefs that stretched for kilometers. Algae turned sunlight into slow-growing limestone. Fish swam through warm currents that touched only gentle shores. When these seas disappeared, their limestone remained, forming cliffs that glow gold in sunset's brief warmth. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. In the high plateaus, flat layers stretch across the horizon. Sandstone, atop shale, atop limestone. Each layer placed by time with a calmness humans rarely witness. Wind moves between tall stone walls, singing low, hollow tones that echo through long corridors of rock. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It remembers continents that drifted together to form Pangaea, an immense landmass surrounded by a single global ocean. Deserts spread across its interior. Mountains rose along its edges. Later, the continent separated its fragments, becoming the lands we know today. Even now, they continue to drift, a slow reunion, and separation repeated through ages. It's okay to drift soft and low. Below the Pacific, an entire plate descends into the mantle, sliding slowly beneath the continents. This descent creates deep trenches, long, dark scars on the ocean floor. These trenches sink thousands of meters below the surface, quiet gateways to the Earth's interior. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers volcanic calderas, vast depressions formed when enormous volumes of magma emptied from beneath the crust. Over time, the calderas filled with lakes, forests, and soft soils. Life grew upon landscapes once shaped by fire, showing how even intense moments eventually soften into quiet. It's okay to drift warm and slow. Fossils remain in stone as pale shadows of past worlds. Leaves leave delicate impressions in shale. Feathers form outlines in fine sediments. Shells remain as bright spirals pressed into limestone. These fossils capture single moments from lives lived millions of years ago, quiet snapshots held with infinite patience. It's okay to drift soft and low. In deep canyons, echoes travel through narrow walls, creating soft pulses that repeat across seconds. These echoes carry the sound of water moving over stone, a slow rhythm that has shaped the canyon grain by grain. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers meteor dust falling through ancient skies, tiny particles burning faintly as they entered the atmosphere. Some survived and settled onto quiet surfaces, grains of cosmic memory resting alongside grains born on Earth. In some sediments, they remain even now, remnants of stars that traveled across the galaxy. It's okay to drift warm and slow. In karst landscapes, entire rivers disappear underground, flowing through unseen channels carved in limestone. They re-emerge miles away, their waters carrying coolness from underground chambers. Even water prefers quiet paths when given enough time. It's okay to drift soft and low. It remembers the rise of volcanoes on the ocean floor, forming seamounts that never break the surface. Some grow for millions of years, their summits only a few hundred meters below the waves. They shelter entire ecosystems, silent mountains hidden beneath the sea. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. Above all, it remembers that everything changes with patience. Stone forms, Stone breaks. Stone reforms. Mountains rise and fall. Oceans widen and close. Continents circle the globe in slow arcs measured across ages. Through it all, the Earth remains steady, a quiet companion drifting through cosmic time. It's okay to drift warm and slow. And as the night deepens around these vast memories, the Earth continues its long inhale, its long exhale, its endless settling into itself. Stone dreams beneath the darkness. Land breathes in slow pulses, and time stretches out soft and wide, like an ancient horizon falling gently into sleep. It drifts through the quiet, dark, with a patience older than oceans. The Earth carries its dreams in layers of stone, each one a soft echo of time unfolding across ages. No moment is lost, no grain forgotten. Everything settles into place with a calm beyond sound. It's okay to drift warm and low. It remembers nights without stars, nights so ancient the sky glowed only with the faint warmth of a young planet cooling from its earliest fires. Back then, stone formed from molten seas, heavy waves of rock folding into themselves in slow spirals. Even in its birth, the Earth moved with the same unhurried presence it keeps now. It's okay to drift soft and slow. When the crust first hardened, the earliest minerals formed in silence. Zircons cooled within primitive rocks, capturing tiny pockets of water, tiny fragments of ancient light. These crystals endure today, older than any mountain, older than any ocean, quiet witnesses to the planet's earliest dreams. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers the first raindrops falling upon stone still warm from deep fires. For millions of years, these rains filled newborn basins, forming seas that shimmered beneath pale skies. Every raindrop carved a small story into the surface, softening rough edges, cooling the land, making space for calmer ages to come. It's okay to drift warm and low. In those early oceans, minerals settled slowly to the sea floor. Iron-rich layers formed bands of red and brown, stacked neatly across thousands of meters. These bands still remain in ancient cliffs, their colors a silent memory of early waters rusting under sunlight that barely reached the surface. It's okay to drift soft and slow. It remembers the slow rise of continents from the sea. Massive slabs of crust pushed upward by currents deep within the mantle. The movement was imperceptible only a few centimeters each year, but over hundreds of millions of years, land emerged, forming vast shores where waves whispered across new beaches. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. Wind moved across these young landscapes in long, slow lines. Grains of sand lifted into the air, forming dunes that crept across plains at the speed of shadows. Night fell softly on these dunes, cooling them into hushed ripples of pale gold beneath a faint moon. It's okay to drift warm and low. It remembers volcanic arcs glowing in distant horizons. Magma rose from melted crust, its heat captured in shimmering chambers deep beneath the surface. Some magma erupted gently, forming dark basalt fields that cooled into fine columns. Some remained underground, slowly turning into granite hidden far below. It's okay to drift soft and slow. In quiet places, ancient rivers carved their first paths, moving across land with the softness of drifting air. They carried silt and sand, laying down layers that would become shale sandstone and gentle traces of vanished currents. Even now, some of these riverbeds lie buried beneath mountains, their curves preserved in stone. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. The earth remembers when life first touched its surface. Tiny creatures built shells of mineral, settling their remains into layers of soft sediment at the bottom of warm seas. Over millions of years, these layers hardened into limestone. In cliffs today, their shapes remain. Tiny spirals, tiny ridges, quiet evidence of ancient tides. It's okay to drift warm and low. It remembers forests older than mountains forests that grew in warm, humid air. Leaves fell into deep swamps, layering beneath the weight of time. Slowly, as pressure built these layers, transformed into cold, dark seams that still hold the memory of sunlight captured hundreds of millions of years ago. It's okay to drift soft and gentle. In deserts, sand moved across wide basins in long sighs of wind. Dunes rose and fell their patterns, shifting like slow breath. When sunlight faded, stones radiated their warmth into the cooling air, releasing heat gathered through long days. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It remembers when ice advanced across continents. Glaciers, thick as mountains, pressed into the land, scraping valleys into smooth arcs. Boulders were carried for hundreds of kilometers, set down gently when the ice melted away. Lakes formed in low places, and rivers carved their way through newly exposed ground. It's okay to drift soft and low. It remembers when entire seas vanished, evaporated under hot skies, or pushed aside by rising land. Salt crusted the empty basins, forming flat plains that gleamed like mirrors. Over time, sediments covered these salts, sealing them into layers that hold the memory of vanished oceans. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. In cliffs of ancient limestone weathering carved narrow channels, water seeped into tiny cracks, freezing and thawing in quiet cycles. Over thousands of years, these cracks widened into ridges, ridges into ledges, ledges into spires. Stone changed shape with the rhythm of seasons. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It remembers the slow uplift of plateaus, massive regions rising together, their surfaces tilted by deep forces acting across the crust. Once flat layers became towering mesas, their tops still carrying patterns left by rivers long gone. When wind moved across these plateaus, it created soft whistles through narrow canyons, echoes carried for kilometers. It's okay to drift soft and low. In deep caves, darkness is older than any mountain. The earth holds its silence so completely here that sound becomes a presence. The slow drip of water, the faint rustle of minerals, settling the hollow resonance of wide chambers carved over millions of years. These sounds travel through stone like memories breathing in the quiet. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers volcanic islands rising from the sea, their peaks glowing beneath early sunlight. Waves carved smooth black stones from their shores. Over centuries, sand-formed reefs grew and lush forests spread across the land. When the islands eventually sank back into the sea, rings of coral remained circling the memory of vanished mountains. It's okay to drift, warm and low. It remembers rift valleys, places where the crust pulled apart, creating long, narrow basins. Lakes filled these basins, their waters calm in the early mornings. Fish and birds lived along their edges. Minerals settled into thin lines on the lake beds. Later, these valleys widened into continents, dividing their shapes, changing with every million-year breath. It's okay to drift slow and soft. In quiet forests, tree roots pushed into rock, breaking it into soil, one slow fiber at a time. This slow breaking fed new growth, leaves, bark, moss. From stone came soil, from soil came life, from life came layers of quiet renewal. The earth cycles these transformations endlessly. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers the sound of waves striking ancient cliffs, not quick waves, but slow swells rolling across deep bays, pressing against limestone walls. Over thousands of years, these waves carved sea arches, sea caves, and tall stacks, rising just beyond the shore. At sunset, their silhouettes stretch across the water like gentle shadows. It's okay to drift warm and low. It remembers the desert nights when temperatures fall quickly and rocks contract with tiny crackling sounds. These sounds are so soft, they often blend with the wind, a faint ticking beneath the stars. Over ages, these cracks widen, turning rock into sand, sand into dunes, dunes into quiet seas of gold. It's okay to drift soft and slow. It remembers lava lakes glowing under night skies, their surfaces cooling into thin, fragile crusts. Beneath molten rock moved with a slow, rhythmic pulse, a deep, steady beat echoing through the ground. When the crust cracked, a faint, low sound trembled across the landscape, like a heart gently shifting in sleep. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers the earliest mountain ranges, eroded to nothing, mountains once taller than any alive today. Their remains lie scattered in ancient sediments, grains that once stood thousands of meters high. Now they rest inside quiet cliff faces, their grandeur softened into slopes and rolling hills. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It remembers that all landscapes, every valley, every ridge, every plain, are shaped by forces that favor silence, wind lifting a handful of sand, water slipping through cracks, heat rising through rock over millions of years. These slow rhythms create worlds. It's okay to drift soft and low. In every cliff, in every canyon, in every grain of sand, the earth writes its long, quiet story. A story made not of sudden change, but of slow patience. Stone forms, stone erodes, stone forms again. Everything returns. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. The night deepens around this rhythm. Shadows stretch across old landscapes. The earth breathes its long breath steady and warm beneath the sky. Its dreams drift across deserts, settle into valleys, rise into mountains, and descend again through slow erosion. It's okay to drift warm and low. The planet moves through darkness without hurry, turning on its axis, circling the sun, carrying its quiet stories with it. Stone remembers, time unfolds, and the deep, low hum of the earth continues beneath every landscape, beneath every night, beneath every drifting thought. It's okay to drift soft and slow, and as the soft dark gathers, the world settles into its patience, the calm of stone, the warmth of deep earth, the long, gentle quiet of time unfolding. Everything breathes in silence. Everything rests. Everything continues its slow journey toward morning. It fades into time, the way distant shorelines fade into evening, haze, slowly, gently, without ever truly disappearing. The earth carries this fading within every ridge and valley, every ripple of sand, every quiet seam hidden beneath forests and fields. To the planet, fading is not loss. It is simply another form of remembering. It's okay to drift warm and low. It remembers the first continents as soft silhouettes rising from warm seas, their shapes shifting over slow breaths that lasted millions of years. Storms moved across their surfaces in low murmurs. Rivers found their early paths. Winds carved shallow depressions into still soft stone. None of these marks were rushed, none intended to last. Yet many endured long enough to become the beginnings of the world we know. It's okay to drift soft and slow. Across these early continents, lava fields stretched in dark, shimmering plains. When night cooled, their surfaces thin, fractures formed lines that spread with each passing season, turning molten stories into solid chapters. Basalt columns rose quietly, their shapes born from the slow release of heat. Even now, deep in the stillness of night, these columns hum with the faint warmth they once held. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers ancient seas under soft blue light, their floors covered in fine silt, drifting downward through quiet water. Each grain settled into place with a patience that matched the rhythm of tides. Layer by layer, these sediments became shale, a fossil memory of water, weight, and time moving together. Within some beds of shale, the ghosts of tiny creatures remain, their outlines captured in delicate shadow. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It remembers coral reefs that grew in slow pulses, building towering limestone walls from tiny skeletons gathered over ages. When sunlight touched these reefs, colors shimmered in quiet waves, casting soft reflections across clear water. When sea levels shifted, reefs fell silent, buried under new layers of sediment, then raised again by continental uplift. Entire reef systems now lie atop mountain peaks, holding the quiet shapes of shells, thousands of meters above the sea. It's okay to drift soft and low. It remembers deserts where sand changed with every breath of wind. Dunes moved in slow migrations across wide plains, their slopes shifting just a little each season. During the day, sun warmed the sand, filling the air with shimmering hush. At night, temperatures fell, and sand released its heat in soft, whispering waves. These sands traveled through time carried by wind, over centuries forming patterns that stretched for kilometers. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. In canyons cut deep into ancient rock, the earth remembers long rivers that once flowed with steady rhythm. The sound of water softened stone grain by grain, deepening channels into sculpted walls. Even now, long after some rivers have faded or changed course, the canyon remembers their voices. Curved walls hold faint echoes that rise when wind slips through narrow spaces. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It remembers cliffs formed from volcanic ash layers, pressed together by the weight of centuries. Some layers fall into delicate patterns, white and pale yellow bands, stacked with remarkable precision. Each band, a single ancient eruption, a single moment captured in the long timeline of the earth. In quiet evenings, when light falls low on these cliffs, their layers glow in soft gradients like pages of a warm, dusty book. It's okay to drift soft and low. It remembers the slow cooling of granite deep within the crust. Crystals grew in silence, feldspar, quartz, and mica, arranging themselves in shimmering mosaics. As uplift carried these rocks toward the surface, Erosion brushed away the overlying stone. What was once hidden in darkness now reflects sunlight each crystal, a fragment of deep time, catching the day's final glow. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. On wide plains, soil forms from the quiet interplay of life and stone. Leaves fall into hidden layers. Roots spread. Rain carries dissolved minerals downward. Over thousands of years, these processes create thin, fragile blankets of fertile earth. Few realize how slowly soil grows centimeters per century, sometimes even less. It's a reminder that growth itself can be quiet, steady, and almost invisible. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It remembers storms older than mountains. Lightning struck basalt cliffs, breaking their surfaces with sharp but fleeting flashes. Rain fell in sheets, cooling the stone until steam rose like soft ghosts drifting upward. Over ages, these storms carved entire valleys and fed long-standing rivers. Even when the air was calm, the memory of rain lingered in the shape of the land. It's okay to drift soft and low. It remembers the cold breath of glaciers. Ice advanced, slowly pressing into the land with weight that could move mountains. As glaciers shifted, they carved deep, U-shaped valleys, leaving behind polished stones that still shine under sunlight. When the ice melted, its loss filled new lakes and rivers, leaving fresh scars and smooth plains in its wake. These landscapes carry the soft afterglow of ages shaped by cold. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. In karst regions, water dissolves limestone into quiet mazes of passageways. Underground chambers form their air, cool and still. Stalactites grow downward like frozen drips of time, and stalagmites rise upward in slow, steady growth. Some formations touch after tens of thousands of years, completing the long arc of their mineral dance. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It remembers river deltas expanding into the sea, vast fans of sediment spreading outward with gentle persistence. Each new flood lays down a fresh layer, adding to the slow build of land. Deltas shift course, their channels wandering across plains. With every shift, new islands form, new wetlands rise, new stories settle into the earth. It's okay to drift soft and low. Along coastlines, waves continue their quiet work. They wear down cliffs in tiny increments, leaving behind pebbles smooth as polished glass. Sea stacks rise where harder stone survives the passing waves. Eventually, these stacks crumble too, their fragments absorbed by sand and shifting tides. The coastline breathes, pulls back, and advances again over millennia. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers the heat trapped deep within subduction zones, where one piece of the crust sinks beneath another. The descending plate carries minerals into rising heat, transforming them into new materials. Some melt entirely, forming magma that gathers in quiet reservoirs. Over time, this magma may rise, cooling into new stone or forming the foundations of volcanoes. All of it unfolds over millions of years, a slow choreography of weight and warmth. It's okay to drift warm and slow. In salt basins, thick layers of evaporated minerals lie hidden beneath younger sediments. These salt layers can flow under pressure, rising into tall domes that distort the layers above them. From the surface, these domes appear as broad, gentle hills, barely hinting at the slow, shifting shapes beneath. It's okay to drift soft and low. It remembers meteor dust falling from ancient skies, settling onto seas and deserts in soft cascades. Some dust carried rare metals from distant stars, Some held fragments of worlds long gone. Over time, these cosmic grains mixed with Earth's own sediments, weaving stardust into stone. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. The Earth remembers the heat of buried bodies, of magma giant chambers cooling through slow centuries. As the rock-hardened crystals grew in calm, stable patterns, sometimes meters across, these giant crystals now lie hidden, deep within mountain roots, resting in the dark, untouched by all but the soft motion of tectonic breath. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It remembers the hush of volcanic dust settling across continents. Fine ash-blanketed forests, lakes, and distant plains. Over seasons, rain pressed the ash into delicate layers. Over ages, these layers hardened into tough, fragile stone that carries the memory of a single moment in Earth's distant fire. It's okay to drift soft and low. It remembers the slow tilting of entire regions. Layered strata bend calmly over millions of years, forming domes, basins, and gentle arches. From the sky, these patterns look like fingerprints, soft spirals and curves pressed into the crust by deep motion. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers cliffs glowing in twilight. These cliffs were once sediments settling at the bottom of long-forgotten seas. When the sun sets, their colors deepen ochre, amber rose tones born from iron oxidizing over eons. As darkness grows, the cliffs fade into silhouettes, their shapes resting softly against the horizon. It's okay to drift warm and slow. And through all of this, the Earth continues its quiet turning, carrying its memories with it through vast sweeps of time. Stone dreams in the dark. Oceans whisper against distant shores. Valleys inhale the slow breath of night. Every landscape settles into its ancient rhythm. Steady, patient, unhurried. It's okay to drift soft and low. As night deepens around these memories, the planet holds everything gently. Heat, time, silence, the long echo of change, the slow breath of stone learning to fade. And you drift with it, carried by the steady, ancient quiet of the Earth. It breathes beneath every horizon, slow, steady, and older than any night sky. The Earth inhales through shifting sands, exhales through drifting continents, and holds its breath in the quiet between seasons that span millions of years. This breath is wide, soft, and almost imperceptible, yet it touches everything: stone, water, soil, sky. It's okay to drift warm and low. It remembers when the land was unbroken, a single supercontinent resting upon deep mantle currents. Across that vast stretch of stone, winds carried dust from one edge to the other. Forests rose, rivers wandered, mountains formed in slow arcs. And beneath the weight of so much land, the mantle pushed upward in deep, slow pulses. It's okay to drift, soft and slow. As the supercontinent broke apart, the Earth breathed out again, a long exhale across tens of millions of years. Valleys widened, rift zones opened into new oceans. Molten rock rose quietly to form ocean floors that still spread outward each day, only a few centimeters at a time. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. Along these new ocean floors, mineral-rich water seeped through cracks, warming as it touched rising heat. Hydrothermal vents formed, releasing shimmering plumes into deep, silent water. Around them, life emerged in darkness, feeding on minerals carried upward by the Earth's breath. These vents have been rising and fading for millions of years, each one a quiet reminder that even in darkness, the planet continues its patient work. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It remembers the long ages when shallow seas spread across continents. These waters carried gentle waves that moved with the softness of distant tides. Layer by layer, marine sediments settled onto seafloors, building thick limestone beds filled with shells, corals, and soft-shadowed fossils. When sunlight reached the surface, it turned the water into shifting curtains of gold. When the seas withdrew, their memory remained in cliffs and ridges that still glow under evening light. It's okay to drift soft and low. In humid ancient forests, ferns grew taller than houses, and warm swamps swallowed fallen trees. The weight of new seasons pressed down upon old ones, turning forests into peat, peat into coal, coal into deep seams, resting beneath the world. These seams hold the low hum of old sunlight captured quietly in dark stone. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers the slow grind of continents colliding, a collision so gradual that whole eras passed during its long approach. When crust met, crust mountain ranges rose in steady lifts. Granite formed deep below, cooling into pale speckled mosaics. Metamorphic rocks folded into shining bands, their minerals realigned by heat and pressure, older than any river. Above peaks sharpened and softened across millions of years. It's okay to drift warm and slow. Wind carried dust down these mountainsides, dust that would someday rest in distant plains. Rain carved gullies and canyons. Each drop played its part in the long erosion, wearing mountains into hills, hills into slopes, slopes into ancient rolling landscapes. Nothing rushed, nothing strained, everything returned to quiet. It's okay to drift soft and low. It remembers rivers that have changed course 1,000 times. Some rivers once flowed north, then west, then south again, as the land tilted beneath them. These shifts left oxbows, fossil channels, and hidden valleys carved by currents that no longer exist. Even now, buried beneath layers of sediment, their shapes remain. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. In some places, lava fountains once rose into the night sky, cooling in midair as tiny droplets of volcanic glass. These droplets settled into dark layers, forming tuff, so light it crumbles under the gentlest touch. The earth remembers these fires with a softness that belies their heat. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It remembers the slow tilting of sedimentary layers, horizontal beds laid quietly over millions of years, bent into gentle arches by deep forces. From the surface, these arches appear as smooth ridges, their patterns hidden beneath soil and forest. But inside the ridge, each layer records its own age, a quiet archive shaped by time's long patience. It's okay to drift soft and low. It remembers the quiet collapse of underground chambers. When limestone dissolved, spaces opened beneath fields and forests. Eventually, the roof above thinned and sank, forming sinkholes that expanded inch by inch. Over ages, some became wide basins, where lakes eventually formed their surfaces, smooth as glass in night's soft air. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers when ice covered continents, thick sheets stretching farther than sight. The ice carried stones the size of cottages, dragging them across the land over thousands of years. When the ice melted, these stones remained as silent markers of journeys long completed. Some rest in forests, some on plains, some on mountaintops, far from where they began. It's okay to drift warm and slow. In volcanic fields, lava tubes run beneath the hardened surface of old flows. Inside these tubes, air stands still. Drips of cooling rock hang like frozen droplets. Some tubes stretch for kilometers, gentle corridors carved by slow rivers of molten stone. It's okay to drift soft and low. The earth remembers the rise of inland seas, broad basins filled by slow-moving water. These seas left behind chalk beds made from the shells of tiny plankton. In cliffs today, this chalk shines pale white under moonlight, soft as powdered dust. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers the warmth of geothermal springs. Water heated by deep rock rises to the surface, carrying dissolved minerals that build terraces in quiet layers. Silica forms milky pools that hold the sky's reflection. Travertine deposits stack in thin bands that glow softly in dusk. All of it forms slowly, only millimeters a year. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It remembers when mountain glaciers carved fjords deep into coastal rock. These narrow inlets, now filled with cold ocean water, cut far inland, where ice once flowed like silent frozen rivers. Their cliffs rise thousands of meters on either side, softened only by mist and slow daylight filtering through clouds. It's okay to drift soft and low. It remembers the quiet uplift of marine terraces, flat shelves that once lay at sea level. As land rose, these terraces stepped upward like gentle stairs. Some now stand hundreds of meters above the ocean, their surfaces still carrying faint ripples from ancient waves. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers dunes that have moved for tens of thousands of years. These dunes shift only a little each season, their edges catching wind that hums softly across their crests. At night, when the air cools, sand settles into patterns shaped by the day's last breeze. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It remembers ancient lakes that dried long before mountains rose. Their floors cracked into delicate polygons, forming patterns that stretch across entire basins. When rain returns after long droughts, thin sheets of water fill these cracks, reflecting stars in trembling lines. It's okay to drift soft and low. It remembers the movement of fault sections of crust that slip past one another in slow, subtle motion. Some faults creep silently, only millimeters a year. Others shift in sudden releases, changing landscapes in moments. But even these releases are part of time's long flow, the earth adjusting itself, settling into new positions. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers the deep basins where sediments accumulate for millions of years. Grains of silt settle into thick beds later compressed into rock, so heavy it bends the crust beneath it. When uplift begins, these same rocks rise into mountain belts, their grains now carried upward again through quiet cycles of change. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It remembers volcanic plateaus formed by countless eruptions, each eruption adding another layer to the vast basalt plains. Over ages, rivers cut deep canyons into these plateaus, revealing hundreds of individual flows. The layers stand like pages of an immense book etched into stone. It's okay to drift soft and low. It remembers forests petrified by volcanic ash. Mineral-rich waters replaced wood with stone over thousands of years. Today, these fossil trees stand silent, their rings preserved, their bark captured in fine detail, their trunks heavy with deep Earth's memory. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. It remembers wind that whistles through narrow slot canyons, painting their walls in shifting echoes. Those walls formed from sandstone shaped by millions of years of flowing water. Now each breeze sings through their curves, a quiet voice made by stone and time. It's okay to drift warm and slow. It remembers the slow folding of mountain roots, pressure turning dark shale into shining schist, into gneiss, with bright bands flowing like frozen waves. These rocks lie deep beneath peaks, holding heat accumulated over ages. It's okay to drift soft and low. And through all these memories, the earth continues its slow exhale, its long inhale, its patient, settling into the quiet dark of night. Stone breathes without sound. Time stretches without edges. And the landscapes of the planet move in rhythms as soft as drifting thought. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. As the night gathers, the earth folds its stories into silence. The slow pulse of deep heat rises. The cool breath of evening settles, and the planet drifts through its ancient, calm, steady, patient, and endlessly gentle beneath the quiet sky. It drifts into the deepest part of night, where stone loosens its grip on form and time begins to blur at the edges. The earth moves here without sound, a presence more than a shape, a warmth more than a world. Its ancient rhythm fades into something softer, a low, slow hum dissolving into darkness. It's okay to drift warm and low. It breathes in tremors too gentle to feel exhaling through layers that remember oceans. Long gone mountains, long worn valleys, long folded into dust. The breath spreads outward, passing through dunes that shift by moonlight, through canyons where echoes sleep, through basalt fields that cool under open sky. Everything loosens, everything softens, everything settles. It's okay to drift soft and slow. The warmth rising from deep earth fades upward in threads, thin ribbons of heat, carried through stone that has dreamed in silence for billions of years. As it rises, it slows, spreads, becomes only a faint memory of motion, barely touching the crust before disappearing into the cool night above. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. There is a point in the night when landscapes dissolve into silhouettes, and silhouettes dissolve into shadow, and shadow dissolves into the soft, drifting dark. Mountains lose their edges, horizon lines fade, ridges blur into the air around them. Even the earth forgets its boundaries, floating in a dark so wide it feels like an endless breath. It's okay to drift warm and low. It's in this softened world that the planet remembers differently. Not in layers, not in minerals, not in slow crustal movements, but in sensation. A warmth moving upward through deep stone. A coolness falling from quiet air. A slow pulse of weight shifting beneath continents. These sensations pass not through space, but through presence. Gentle, endless, unbroken. It's okay to drift soft and slow. And somewhere in this softened place, a quiet between stars begins to open. A space where memory is not held in rock, but in stillness. A space where the earth rests in the same calm breath that holds the night together. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. The long stories of geology begin to unravel into threads of light, threads of warmth, threads of drifting motion. Stone becomes dust, dust becomes haze, haze becomes quiet. Even time begins to feel distant as though it too has grown tired and chosen to rest a while. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. The world lies beneath you, but it feels lighter now, as if the weight of continents has thinned, as if valleys have lowered themselves into calm, as if mountains have leaned a little closer to sleep. Earth itself feels adrift, floating through the soft dark, like a tired traveler, easing into rest. You drift with it, soft, warm, slow. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The earth rises under you like a quiet tide, lifting in rhythms too slow to measure. Its warmth touches you from below, not heat, but presence, not pressure, but support. A calm foundation, older than any dawn, carrying you as gently as gravity allows. It's okay to drift warm and low. The night folds closer, dim and tender. Somewhere far beneath the surface stone continues its slow rearrangement, but the movement feels distant, now muted, softened, as though the planet has wrapped itself in layers of sleep. Even the deep heat seems to dim, cooling into a quiet glow that reaches you like a memory you can almost touch. It's okay to drift soft and slow. You feel the soft pull of stillness gathering around your body, a heaviness without weight, a warmth without heat, a floating without movement. The kind of calm that only comes when the world beneath you has settled so deeply that your breath becomes the only motion. It's okay to drift gentle and warm. The earth becomes a cradle, a slow drifting vessel carrying you through the dark. Its ancient hum quiets until it feels like it's inside your own breath. Its warmth settles beneath your spine, beneath your ribs, beneath your thoughts. Everything loosens slowly, softly, like sediment sinking through calm water. You drift with it floating in the warm hollow of night. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. The horizon fades completely, now blurring into a softness without edges. Nothing rises, nothing falls, nothing pulls. Everything simply drifts, a slow, weightless dark, carrying you without effort. You feel yourself moving not through space, but through calm, through warmth, through the ancient quiet of a planet settling into sleep. It's okay to drift warm and low. The earth breathes again, a long inhale that feels like gravity sighing, and a long exhale that feels like time growing still. You rest inside that breath, held without pressure, carried without motion, cradled by the deep patience of stone and night. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. You drift deeper, now slow enough that thoughts begin to lose their edges, light enough that your body feels almost transparent. The night holds you with a patience older than the first mountain, older than the first tide. You're carried not by motion, but by the soft permission to rest. You are safe here, warm and slow. Your breath moves in long arcs, gliding through you like a tide that has forgotten its urgency. In these arcs, your muscles soften, your chest loosens, your limbs fall into the shape of quiet. It's okay to drift low and warm. The earth feels distant now, not gone, not silent, just farther away, as though its weight has lowered itself beneath a softer version of gravity. You float above this loosened world, rising without rising, held in a darkness that feels fluid, gentle, and endlessly open. You are safe here, soft and low. Your thoughts dissolve like sand sinking through warm water. One grain loosens, then another, and soon the entire shoreline of your mind begins to blur into a slow, warm hush. Nothing pulls your attention. Nothing reaches for you. Nothing asks. You drift in a quiet, shaped entirely for rest. It's okay to drift, gentle and slow. You feel an expanding softness inside your chest. Not emotion, not memory. Just a widening calm that radiates outward in slow ripples. Each ripple settles further into you, slowing your breath, slowing your pulse, slowing even the small electrical flickers that carry stray thoughts across your mind. You are safe here, warm and low. A lightness begins in your hands, spreading upward through your arms, like warm vapor, rising from quiet stone. The lightness reaches your shoulders, settles behind your neck, and finally fills the space behind your eyes with a soft, weightless glow. It's okay to drift, soft and slow. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. Your sense of time loosens seconds, stretch, then melt, then disappear entirely. Minutes fold themselves into the long, slow breath that carries the whole night. You drift inside that fold, feeling yourself slip through a calm wider than thought. You are safe here, warm and slow. Your legs feel far away now, as though they belong to a quiet statue resting at the bottom of a warm sea. Even your spine eases vertebrae, releasing one by one in the slow language of sleep. Your weight lowers without pressure, without effort, like sediment settling onto ancient seafloors. It's okay to drift, soft and low. The room dissolves around you, not fading, just stepping back until it becomes background silence. Even your own shape begins to soften edges, blurring contours, relaxing, as though your body is being slowly redrawn. In gentle charcoal, you float inside this softness, untethered, safe, held. You are safe here, warm and slow. Somewhere beneath you, the earth breathes again. A long inhale you do not feel, and a long exhale you unconsciously follow. Your breath syncs with that ancient rhythm until it becomes impossible to tell where your breathing ends and the planet's breathing begins. In the quiet, between stars, you are remembered. Your thoughts drift like thin clouds moving across an evening sky. They pass without shape, without anchors, without weight. Soon all that remains is the sensation of floating, a slow downward floating that feels like sinking into warm air. It's okay to drift, soft and slow. Your eyelids grow heavier than stone smoothed by 1,000 tides. This heaviness isn't pressure. It's comfort, a gentle closing of the world until only breath remains. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. You feel yourself entering a depth where sound has no edges and time has no corners. A depth where your body becomes a single warm blur of slow, steady rest. Here even dreams move gently approaching, like soft silhouettes rising through calm water. You are safe here, warm and low. The night folds over you like layered sediment, thin, warm, protective. Each layer adds calm. Each layer softens thought. Each layer lowers you into the deep stillness, waiting beneath consciousness. It's okay to drift, soft and slow. The final weight within you loosens your jaw, softening your hands, releasing your breath, easing into a rhythm older than your first memory. You float downward, slow, as dust, settling in quiet light. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. And now, the softest part of night arrives. A place where even drifting becomes effortless, where your mind quiets completely, where your breath becomes the entire horizon. Light still travels, slow and far, and endlessly calm. The universe breathes through you. You are home. You can rest now. If you're still awake, the next wonder waits in the light ahead.